If you're somebody who wheels your Jeep hard and you get in a lot of situations where you're dragging the pumpkin over rocks and you fear that you may peel back the differential cover, adding a much stronger one is definitely a nice idea. Today we're going to talk through the installation of one of these differential covers, which of course is going to be a very simple 1 out of 3 wrench installation. There's a little bit of setup to do on these because they do have a dipstick and you have to do a little bit of measuring and setting up, but even so, this is something that you can get done in about a half an hour or less, and we'll talk more about that install in just a second. Now, you do want to be careful when adding a diff cover, making sure that you will still have clearance between your track bar, all of your steering components in the front and also in the rear, and with the ARB you are going to have plenty of clearance. Now, these ARB differential covers are going to be more expensive than most of the other ones on the market. However, these do have the added feature of having a dipstick. Now, if you're a little bit more old school, you probably don't have a problem just removing that fill plug, sticking your finger in there and seeing how much oil you have left, but having the dipstick is a nice feature. This differential cover is going to be made of a high tensile strength nodular iron, so it is going to be very strong. This thing is definitely stout. As with most other aftermarket differential covers, this is designed with recessed bolt heads, just giving you one less thing to get chewed up or broken when you're on the trail, and ensure that when you do need to take this off to service the differential, you're going to be able to get all of those bolts removed. As I said before, this is available in your choice of either red or black powder coat. If you do go off-road a lot, chances are that powder coat's not going to stay in pristine condition. However, you do have your choice of colors. Now, one of the things that makes this really unique is, as I mentioned before, the fact that it has a dipstick. So you're going to have a drain, which is nice and low on the differential cover, giving you the ability to get the most oil out of it. And then up top here, you are going to have that dipstick and the dipstick hole. Both the drain plug and the dipstick are a neodymium magnet, so any little tiny metal fragments that you might get floating around in your oil are going to stick to those magnets, and you can very easily check the health of your differential. Of course, if you start having some bigger shavings in there, you know there's a problem. That is going to be one of the things that sets this apart and also makes it a little bit more expensive than some of the others. Getting this installed is going to be that very simple 1 out of 3 wrench install that we mentioned before, and you can get this done in about a half an hour per differential. Now, the first step is going to be, of course, removing your factory differential cover. There's, of course, going to be some gear lube inside of there that you're going to drain out. You're also going to want to clean the surface on the axle assembly very well. You might have old gasket material on there. In order to get the really good seal between your new cover and that housing, make sure that you scrape it, make sure it's nice and clean, and make sure it doesn't have any oil on it. This is also going to be a very good time to inspect the inside of your differential, check out the teeth, make sure nothing is chipped, there's no odd wear, there aren't excessive shavings in the bottom of your differential. After that, take your old cover and line it up next to your new cover with a straight edge. Pull the dipstick out of the new differential cover and mark it so that you know what height you want the oil to be at. You don't want to just put this on and fill it all the way up to the top of the dipstick. Once things start to heat up, you're just going to end up pushing oil up into your vent, which is going to make a mess and also create a situation where the vent isn't allowed to do its job properly. So you do want to keep the oil level pretty much where it was, and that's a good way to do it. Set them side by side and see where the oil level was on your old differential cover. Finally, once you have that dipstick marked, you can go ahead and install your new cover. Put a bit of gasket making material on your new cover or on the assembly, maybe a little bit of both. I like to let the RTV set up for a few minutes, get a little bit tacky before actually putting the cover in place. Put it in place, put all of your bolts in, and then you can leave them tight but not too tight until you get a little bit more of a set on the RTV. Then go ahead and torque everything down. That's going to ensure that you get a good nice seal without squishing all of the RTV material out, and ensure that you're not going to get a leak. Finally, once the RTV is set up, you can go ahead and fill your new differential up to the mark that you made on the dipstick, and you're going to be finished. There are a few different options when you're looking at aftermarket differential covers, and a lot of them are going to be built very well and very strong, just like this one is. This one is a little bit more expensive than some of the other options out there because, again, it does have the dipstick, which is a unique feature to the ARB cover. However, if you're not interested in that and you want to save a little bit of money, one of the other options will also work for you. But if you want something that has all the bells and whistles, that's very well built, and is just going to work and do its job, and you have the budget for it, I would recommend taking a look at this one. So if you're looking for a high quality differential cover with a ton of features, I definitely recommend taking a look at this one from ARB that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.